Good morning. Old Donkey here. Haven't made a video in a while. It just been kind of crazy. Doing a lot of farming and stuff. But I'm back. I'm trying to cut down on the farming and do more in the shop and stuff. Uh, I want to talk this morning a little bit about when cars were fun. I started working at VW Porsche Audi dealership in 1973, and it was a lot of fun. I couldn't wait to get to work. I loved it, learning all the time, but interesting cars, but they were fixable. Uh, at that time, Porsche was probably, I worked on a lot of Porsche and Audis back then. And at that time, they were probably, 3 to 5 years ahead on technology. Now everybody's pretty much caught up and got it all together, but uh, they had some early innovations. Anyway, even I worked on, I had uh, GTOs and Comet Cyclones and Falcon Sprints and a lot of muscle cars and uh, this a whole lot of different vehicles, and I worked on it. But it was fun back then. 4-wheel drive Ford trucks and different things, and we would work on them. Today, it can still be fun, but you're not going to get by with not studying hard. Okay, not being an you're pretty much going to have to be an electronic technician to work on today's cars. And I'm into one right now where uh, there's bad communication signal going to transmission control module. This car set for a year. There was a mouse nest back in there, and uh, build up water. There was some water intrusion, and so I'm just now. I think I found a spot where there was some corrosion on terminals. It don't take much to mess up on a CAN bus. You get a little bit of corrosion or something in there, and you'll get some funky signals, and it won't communicate. So, but anyway, cars can still be fun. I've been hearing a lot of negative press lately. Uh, People leaving the business, and I understand. So I left the dealership a long time ago. It got pretty rough on the dealer back then, so I can imagine what it's like now. But you can't hardly buy a work truck. You're going to spend 50 to 80 thousand dollars on a truck. If you crack the tail light lens, that might cost you 700, 800 bucks or more. And so there's a lot of expense, a lot of extra tools, electronic equipment, scopes, scan tools. Got to have information, wiring diagrams and stuff. That's why I'm a real believer in specializing. Um, if you love Toyotas, work on Toyotas. Fords, work on Fords. Because if you work on everything on the road, you're going to be learning hard lessons every time you turn around. And it's hard to make money if you're constantly learning. But if you specialize in one line of car, uh, you can start to know things. You work to find that peculiar problem that uh, you spend hours to find or something. That might have been a little ground wire, or that seems to be common, a bolt loose on a ground wire or something. I had a Toyota one time. You'd be driving down the road, and all of a sudden the door locks would cycle, and the wipers would work. I think that was maybe a Chevy, and I ended up, you got to search and everything. I ended up, wiggling wires and everything. And pretty soon I hit the right wire, and the wipers worked, and the door locks cycled. And here was a ground wire up in the dash. You just can't walk up and find stuff like that. And today it's even worse. Uh, and a lot of it's caused by, like this one, water intrusion, uh, mouse, rodent issues chewing wires, and uh, they build nests and stops up the drain holes and water goes in and stuff like that. But uh, I think a guy can still in this business look forward to going to work every day and honing his skills and the challenges. I always love the challenges, and uh, whenever you accomplish something, especially something that nobody else could fix. It's been like three places, and you're a hero. I like that was the thing. If you really try to be good in this business and hone your skills, uh, there's a lot of reward. You can be a hero a lot of the times fixing the modern cars. We're not going to get away from it. We're not going back to carburetors. And I remember when Chrysler came out, I think it was in 73 with transistorized ignition. And old timers would go to the junkyard and pull point distributors out and throw away their electronic ignition, where really they was trouble free. Where point sometimes you had to adjust or replace every 10 or 15,000 miles. So for the most part, cars really last today. The engines are great. Uh, the engineers do a boo boo once in a while and come up with one where it breaks all the time. But uh, I think it can still be fun. But I think the technician needs to be rewarded. Part of your reward is your sense of accomplishment, and if you're good, you can go to work anywhere you want, or you can set up your own little shop if you're good and want to learn how to run the business and everything. Uh, an old timer one time told me I worked in the dealership with. He was old then. Uh, I doubt that he's alive today. Uh, and he told me if you're good, you can fix cars. He said you can open a shop on top of the mountain with no roads, and they'll find a way to get to you. So, but that's an analogy that uh, people have taken their car back two or three times, and horror stories and stuff like that. And but there's a lot of good technicians out there. But if the ones that are out there, they're busy, okay? And even in a dealership, you usually have to have a good problem or something before you get the real trained high tech guy. He's a problem solver, and usually they don't get paid enough. That was one of the things that I hated. People, when you're working flat rate, people over here that had less knowledge than you, they're doing brake jobs and services and maintenance, and they're turning more hours, and you're running down electrical problems and shorts and all that kind of stuff, and usually under warranty, or even if it's customer's pay, they don't want to pay you 2, 3, 4 hours diagnostic labor, even though you might have to tear half of the wiring harness apart to find something. So, but I think it's still a viable business. People aren't going to go back to walking or riding horses. They ride horses for fun, but so cars are around. If you want to invest the time, the money, I think eventually it'll pay off because the good techs are just getting more and more valuable each year because there's so many dropping out of the business because, well, one reason for pay, but uh, also just so much investment and frustration, uh, especially in the dealerships. If you got a good service advisor and service manager, that's fair and don't have the pets that they give all the good work to, and you end up with all the trash. So, but if it's a fair system, but don't get discouraged. Okay, I've been around this a long, long time. Uh, Wears your body out. But hone not so much today. You don't have to do so much major work today. It's hone them electronic skills, learn that scanner inside and out. Uh, get good information. I do mostly Volkswagens and Audis, and so I'll go on the factory website, and it's real reasonable. Volkswagen, $35 a day. You can go in and look up service information and stuff, and if you can download it, you can print a wiring diagram. So it's pretty nice. So I don't know what the other manufacturers are doing, but Volkswagen's been pretty good on sharing information and things of that sort. But uh, it's still good business. You can still get excited about it. You can still take on the challenge and hone your skills and be good. That you're in demand, and you'll get a lot of rewards and satisfaction from it. I like buying tools too, but you got to make the money to do it. But so to have your tools and your test equipment and uh, the the rewards of accomplishment when you fix something that was really hard. Uh, so I'm doing a lot. I'm just kind of doing this off the cuff, but uh, I think the business is still good. Come on in, just work hard, study. Uh, Automotive electronic books, even secular outside the automotive field, you learn a lot just from digital electronic books and different things like that. Don't have to. It all applies. One computer is the same as the other computer. Probably the worst thing we have is access and trying to restrict you. But another thing is that you have to disassemble so much now to get into things, and it takes a lot of time, and people don't really understand where you can spend an hour or two just to get into where you need to test. So, but don't lose hope. It's still a bright future in auto repair. Hone your skills, get good, and people will seek you out. People will want you, and you will be rewarded. So you have a good day. If an old donkey can still keep working, you can too.